Antiquary is here. Everybody complained about the spec for the last week because of how wacky it is. But guys, I'm just gonna say it. This might be one of the most exciting specs ever made in Guild Wars 2 and definitely for Thief. Not only are the animations super cool and original, but the RNG is super interactive, super fun, and also super fast. This spec might be one of the hardest ones to play if you choose to make it play like that. But you also have the option to make it super easy. So in this video, we're gonna go through how everything works, what might need to be changed, and why this spec is super fun. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Go to my Ko-Fi if you want to support my content. Go to my Twitch to watch me live every morning, and let's get into it. So first, how does this spec work? We have Squid Snatch, very curious name over there, and you'll summon a squid that will steal something from your enemy. And it'll be one of these 8 abilities. The guitar, a surfer dash from the forged, a cryptic turret, a mortar, an exalted hammer, a chuck shield, a serpent sun crystal, and whole dancer decoy. Now, all of these things are things that already are in the game. If you really think about it, they kind of just grab something from the game and repurposed it. But I think the way that they repurposed it is actually pretty cool. All these abilities do different things, they have different animations, and I really like how it ends up working. You just get 2 options, and you have to pick the one that you want between the 2. You use the hammer, you can use the explosion, you can use the Sephirite dash, you can use the guitar to do knockback and damage on AoE. They all have different cool effects. So let's go through those effects. First is the Metal Legion guitar. You'll do damage, you'll do a stun, you'll get some confusion, and it'll be all in AoE. You can also move around while you're using the guitar. You have the Forged Surfer dash. We're just gonna dash with the Forged Surfer cable. Is that how you say it in English? I don't know. You guys know what I mean, okay? And while you're doing it, you're dropping bombs along your path, which is super cool. It'll do damage, it'll give burning, and obviously you're gonna move you. Summon Cryptic Turret, it just gives a turret that will do damage over time. Then you have Miss Mortar that will do damage and some burning, also giving a combo field. Those 4 we just talked about are the offensive artifacts. But now we also have defensive artifacts. Now the defensive ones actually do offensive and defensive things. The difference, I'm guessing, is that the defensive ones do a little bit less damage than the offensive ones. It just has a little more utility. For exalted, funny. For example, Exalted Hammer will not only leap you, will maybe make you able to move, but you'll also do 4500 healing, which is an insanely good amount. It'll also evade and do a little bit of damage. Chuck Shield will give missile block while also doing damage. Sephirite Sun Crystal will give you damage and burning while also giving you an evade and stun break. And Whole Dancer Decoy will taunt enemies while doing a little bit of damage. And you can make a self-destruct to do even more damage. The obvious gameplay here is to just steal as much as you can and choose one of the 2 that you get, the one that fits your situation. Whether that is doing more damage or whether that is using some utility. I will say I found it a bit weird to use it as a defensive because all the defenses that we see there are very situational. Everything but the healing. Yeah, you have block missiles, you have stun breaks, and you have taunts to the CC. But what if you just don't need that? What if you don't have anything to block in terms of missiles? What if you don't need a stun break? What if you don't need a taunt? Or what if you get the one that you don't need and you're really searching for, oh, I want this one thing. I need a stun break now, but it's too late and now you don't have... Like, it just... I find it a bit weird to have situational things on RNG. I would completely be okay if it gave one of them gave barrier, one of them got healing, maybe some super speed. I don't know. Something that is situational, but also at the same time always useful. So if you get one that you really don't like, it's not that big of a deal. And yeah, sure, you have the offensive one too, but at that point, why wouldn't you just always go for the offensive one? You have to have a good reason to use the defensive ones, and I just don't think these ones are it. The next one we have are indeed the utilities, and the utilities are super interesting. There's another type of mechanic here, double edge. So how this works is that you use an ability, and then you can double edge it to use it again, even though it's on cooldown. For example, here, they used it once, and they're gonna use it again. Look at that, boom. But now it has a little electric or, you know, little thunder on it, which means that it is backfired. It just no longer can be used until the cooldown is off. and each one will have a different animation whenever it succeeds and whenever it gets backfired, just like you can see right here. Now there's a very interesting way that the whole backfire thing works, because when does it happen? How lucky do you have to get? Well, depending on your cooldown, the chance will change. So if, for example, there's 50% left time on your cooldown for the skill to be, recharged, you'll get 50% chance of backfiring. If you have 75%, then you'll have 75% chance of backfiring. So the more value you take out of it, the less likely you're gonna be able to ignore the cooldown. Which is nice, because you have a little bit of more risk, more reward, less risk, less reward. But realistically, as we talked about before, the backfires don't really seem that bad, and we're gonna go through all of the spells right now. First, we have the heal, anti-venom drought. Drink an anti-venom potion to heal yourself and remove conditions. Pretty straightforward. But if it does backfire, you drop the potion on yourself, healing for more. The cooldown of the skill is increased and you cannot reactivate it again. So it's interesting. The backfire here is positive. You actually, in some ways, wanted to backfire, because then you'll get more healing and you get more conditions removed. That being said, you're gonna have to wait for the cooldown. Or you can just not do that, not backfire, of course, and then just have as consistent way of healing and removing your conditions. I honestly really like this one, because it's like, do you want a lot of healing instantly and get cooldown, or do you just want passive healing? You choose. I think that's actually pretty cool. Stone Summit Cannon. Summon a script to fire a dwarven cannon at the targeted area, damaging and inflicting conditions on foes. Damage, normal damage, and burning. After a short period of time, the cannon misfires. This is the backfire, if you use it too much, damaging and inflicting conditions on you and nearby enemies within range of the summoned script. This is also super interesting, as you can decide to just have a normal amount of damage or backfire on purpose, so it does an AoE big damage and the script goes flying, which is kind of cute. I really like this one, honestly. It's a good spell that you can really, you can really make the decision of which one you actually want. More consistent damage or just more damage overall. What a cooldown. The next one is Inquest Portal Device. Shadow Step to the target enemy, damaging and inflicting conditions on enemies at the target location. And the backfire, Shadow Step. After Shadow Step, you are knocked down. You cannot reactivate this skill until it's recharged again. So this is the only one yet that actually has a big downside. You can get knocked down, which, especially after an ability like this, you most likely don't want, as it's kind of a long stun. And if you want to move around, you definitely don't want to be stunned. But who knows, maybe you're so desperate to teleport that you don't care, or you have a stun break ready to go, so you can be like, oh, I have an artifact ready that stun breaks me, so I'm just gonna use this anyways and risk it. That's pretty cool, especially in PvP situations. The next one is Emergency Jade Shield. Break stuns and summon a Jade Shield that applies barrier to yourself. Already a stun break, that's nice. It's a pretty simple one, just get barrier and stun break. Backfire. The shield explodes after a short period of time, dealing damage to yourself equal to percentage of your base health, as well as damaging enemies around you. And honestly, that does a lot of damage. So this is gonna have two uses. Just passive usage, just by having a little bit more barrier, surviving more. But if you have very low health, you can just explode it, tap it very fast, and do a lot of damage to your enemies. It's actually kind of interesting, because the RNG can be heavily manipulated by you just tapping it. Because if the cooldown is like 99% there, yeah, you would have to be very unlucky for not to backfire. So you can control when to backfire. The only thing that can happen is that maybe you don't want it to backfire, and it backfires anyways. I honestly think it's a very cool mechanic, because there are different utilities that you want to backfire, and some of them that you don't, and some of them that you want them in only situations, very particularly. I don't know. The more I think about this one, the more I love it. I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't so sure at the start, but I don't know. This is looking kind of cool. The next one we have is Kanak Coin Toss. Flip a number of enchanted Kanak coins. Gain effects depending on whether they land heads or tails. Now this one is kind of crazy. If it's heads, gain initiative and convert conditions on yourself to boons. Tails, gain initiative and remove conditions on yourself. You gain more initiative here if it's heads, and you get boons from the conditions. If it's tails, you still get some initiative, you still remove the conditions, well, one, but you don't get the boons. That being said, these are 3 coins, which means that this effect happens 3 times. Now there is a problem here. The backfire is completely insane. Heads, gain initiative and remove boons from yourself. Tails, convert boons on yourself into conditions, so they corrupt them. So if you have stability and it removes that one, boom, you just remove yourself stability and now you have fear, so you just start running around. If it backfires, you'll see this little red effect on it telling you that it happened. I'm not gonna lie, I don't think you ever want to backfire on this one. I would never risk it unless you really need that initiative. Or there's some sort of interaction in Thief that, you know, removing wounds from you is good or something, I don't know. But I really doubt it. It definitely looks like this is gonna be very important in your build to do more damage though, part of the rotation, which is kind of fun, I'm not gonna lie. But definitely will affect the amount of damage you do depending on your RNG, which some people may or not like. And your elite, and one of my favorite abilities, Scrit Scuffle. Summon a Scrit assist at your location that grants your artifacts every interval as long as you are within range. The Scrit also has a random chance of giving you an unstable Scrit bomb instead of a regular artifact, which apparently does a lot of damage. The bomb explodes in your hands, launching and damaging you and enemies around you. Oh, well, that's not the best. Oh, but it counts as a backfire. I see. So that's the backfire. All right. It does do a lot of damage, but to you, not to anyone. 10,000 damage to you guys. That's not good. So yeah, you don't want that to happen to you guys. This is honestly such a cool effect because this is gonna be like your ultimate. You're gonna use this and you're gonna start spamming your F1, F2, F3. You're just gonna blast them. And you don't want to use an unstable Scrit bomb. So you're gonna have to press very fast the other one. You're gonna go in this like insane mode where you can do a lot of damage while also trying to evade the bad artifact. I find that so intense, so fun, so interesting. I absolutely love it. And it looks so cool. Look at the animation, guys. There's little scripts like trying artifact. I love this spec so much. It's my I'm maining Thief, guys. You know, I'm putting this on my thumbnail. It's gonna be something like I am maining Antiquary, okay? Because this is just I love it. I love it so much. I love everything about it. Now let's go for the traits. Right, so first let's go for the minor traits. Magpie Defense grants yourself barrier when you use a healing or elite skill. Alright, I mean just passive barrier just to be more endurable. That sounds good. Enterprising Aristocrat. Gain initiative when you use an artifact skill. Now obviously this is gonna make you want to use your artifact skills. Regardless of the build you are using, regardless of the traits you take, you will gain initiative. It will be worth for you to steal and indeed use your artifact skill. Good way of incentivizing people to just not ignore the mechanic of the entire spec. Now let's see the first one here on the first traits. Redraw any artifacts you currently have in your skill slots. Gain access to reshuffle. Remove conditions from yourself whenever you reshuffle your artifacts. So if you don't like your artifact skills, you can reshuffle them. I don't really see this as useful. I don't think there's any one of the artifacts that are so cool, so good that you want to reshuffle for them. The condition removes, I guess, is nice. I just don't really see why you would ever pick this. Next one, Split Deck. Whenever you pilfer, you're guaranteed to get one offensive artifact and one defensive artifact. Now this, I feel like it's gonna be necessary to take. Honestly, in a lot of ways, I feel like this should be just it should be baseline, right? Like it should be like the F2 is always the offensive and the F3 is always the defensive one. That way you have some sort of like memory, like muscle memory to pick the one you want. Maybe it'll make it a bit too easy. We'll have to play it later. We'll have to see how it plays on the beta. But it just makes a lot of sense. You know, you already have like a lot of intensity in this spec. I see why they didn't make it baseline. I feel like it's kind of nice to have like some randomness and you want to check your icons to see the one you want and memorize them and everything, and it's like always RNG. Which one is it? At the F2? Is it the F3? You have to react. You have to make a decision. And this maybe makes it too boring. I don't know. I'll have to think about it. That being said, I feel like the only time where card swap would be good, the reshuffle one, would be if this is here. Like if this is baseline, then this makes sense because that way you're like, oh, I don't like that particular offensive one, and you just change it. But if not, then I don't know. I don't really see the point in taking it. Prolific Plunderer. Gain additional artifact slot. You can use one more artifact each time you pilfer, so you get a fourth one. And that way you can choose between all of them. I feel like this probably is the best one. Just get 3 and you choose the one that you want. Gives you more chances to get the one that you want, the one that does more damage. it really depends on the type of gameplay you want. If you want some chill stuff, you go for split deck because you have something less. If you go for prolific plunder, you have potential to have better stuff, but also it's way harder because you're gonna have to react very fast on the ones that you want, and you have to memorize each of the artifacts. We're gonna do the same thing we did last time. We're gonna make it so one color means something different. So we're gonna make this one as the big damage one, but hard, and we're gonna make it so blue is like damage, but like a bit easier to play with, you know? Now let's go for the middle trait. So, Scoundrel's Luck. Your next double edge skill used on cooldown will always be successful, regardless of the remaining cooldown. If used on Script Scuffle, it instead reduces the chance of obtaining the unsayable Script Bomb. This is just RNG. You no longer have RNG, essentially. So you can just use your skills, your utilities, twice without any problem. And I guess you can use it thrice, right? You can use them very fast. This is a very interesting situational skill. If you really care about what your utilities do, and you really want to blast with them, and you want to use them over and over again, yeah, you can use this and essentially use 3 in a row, right? I'm not really sure if there's like an utility that I would want to use so hard many times, but maybe in PvP this could be kind of useful. Definitely a very situational one, I think. Meticulous Custodians. Your artifacts have increased effectiveness. This is gonna be obviously the big DPS one. Each of the artifacts will have a different type of buff from it. I think they barely show them in the stream, but essentially they're just gonna make it do more damage, right? The defensive ones will also give more healing, for example. This one I definitely think is gonna be the I'm a Giga Chad. I know all of the effects and what they do. I know exactly what artifact to take on each situation. Boom, I take it for more damage. Something in this goes with this. Oh, there we go. And the last one here, gain increased damage for a period of time after using an artifact. This is very easy, right? Just, hey, use an artifact, you get a 15% more damage. So you want to use one every 10 seconds. I feel like this is way easier to do than Meticulous Custodian, so you probably want to go here. So you can probably check and take whichever one here. Scoundrel's Luck for the easy build, or Accelerating Ephemera. It could definitely be possible that Accelerating Ephemera ends up being more powerful than Meticulous Custodian, even if Meticulous Custodian is harder to do. I really hope that's not the case. I really think it would be better if this is like the unhinged build that you just have to memorize everything and use blasting compared to this one, but yeah. And now here we go for the cool Grandmaster traits. Page's Pincher. Your pilfer after using a certain amount of initiative. This trait will override any existing artifacts when triggered. So, if you spend 15 initiative, boom, you get an automatic pilfer, and of course, it regardless of the cooldown, and gets you another artifact. This is insanely fun. Okay, this means artifact build. And the cool thing is that if you use pistol, guess what? You're gonna be spending and recharging your initiative over and over again, giving you essentially permanently changes to your artifacts. Just artifact after artifact after artifact over and over and over again, which is very fun, very intense, and I love the gameplay of it, right? You probably will want to use another weapon because pistol kind of takes a long time to spend that initiative. A very big initiative hungry weapon probably is what you want right here, but man, a build like this could be insanely fun and cool. You also have Possessive Hoarder. Artifacts grant barrier and boons when used. Offensive and defensive artifacts grant different boons. This is just, hey, you want to give a little bit of support to your team? You can. This seems probably very good in War vs. World. Probably good in PvP too. Just way less aggressive. You can definitely take this to have like a little bit of a hybrid PvE build, I think. Just primarily giving barrier to all your allies, which seems like a very cool thing to give MPV. I really like it. And the last one is Combat High. Gain Combat High when you use Crit Snatch. Increases your outgoing strike and condition damage. Loses stacks of Combat High every interval. So this obviously pairs up very well with the Ephemera. Right? You have Combat High that you get whenever you snatch, and then Ephemera that you use whenever you get an artifact, whenever you use an artifact. So boom, 30% more damage, plus boom, 15% more damage, 45% more damage. Easy. This is a very easy build to go for, I think. You just chill out, you snatch off cooldown, you use your artifact of cooldown, and then boom, full benefit from it. Very easy rotation. You focus on your weapons, boom, easy peasy. And then on top, boom, you have the unhinged build of you get multiple artifacts all the time, and then you choose one, the best one, because you know which one to take, be Meticulous Custodian. because he has a better effect, and you just go boom, 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 artifact, 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 spend weapon, initiative, weapon, artifact. Seems very, very fun. Overall, Antiquary may be my favorite spec until now, and I'm a Paladin main in World of Warcraft. Not even Paragon did it for me. This is just insane gameplay. All the artifacts, all decisions you have to make, the entirety of the spec looks so insanely fun. It looks super intense. I bet, you know, I think it's gonna be very, very good in, well, I guess we'll have to wait until Warver's World and PvP to see how it ends up working. I feel like it will be good because Steve is just good at PvP. In Warver's World, I doubt this is gonna be good in Zerging. Well, maybe, you know, you never know. Maybe the artifacts, well, yeah, maybe it works. I don't know. We'll have to see. For roaming, I think it'll definitely be good. And for PvE, I think it's gonna be a great DPSer. It's gonna be a weird DPSer. I don't know how you're gonna end up benching this. Like, it does seem like it has a lot of RNG to it. So what is it going to be? Between 40k and 70k DPS, depending on luck? Maybe. I don't know. Like, I don't know how they're going to balance that. I'm definitely very, very interested to see how it ends up going, though. I am pretty glad that most of the utility that is very RNG can be controlled in a very special manner, and can also backfiring. Like, it doesn't seem like it seems like it's mostly utility, right? It doesn't seem like it's gonna matter that much on your DPS, whether you backfire or not. Or at least you always want to backfire, so it's not really that big of a deal. There's not that much RNG. The coins are the only exception to this. The coins might be a bit unhinged, especially if you're very initiative hungry, which you absolutely will be if you're going for the unhinged build. But it still could work out because it might just change the way that you play the spec. Overall, this is my first spec. I'm maining it. I don't know what else to say. First day on beta, this is the only thing I'm playing. I'm a Thief main now, guys. It is what it is. I'm making a Squid fashion. I'm making a Indiana Jones fashion, just like this. I'm doing all of it, okay? My Thief is an Antiquary main. No other thing, no Deadeye, no Daredevil. This is it. And I know that a lot of people are not going to be happy about that, but I love it. Haha. So tell me what you guys think about this spec. Tell me what you... If you hated it, I understand. It is definitely not what thieves are used to, but I do think this might be one of the craziest spec ever made in MMORPGs. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Go to my Ko-Fi, like everybody here, to support my content. Sodalian, Maragon, Trader Boys, Minimart, Tilt, Siwix, Butter Double, Question Marks, Say, Noggin, J Mongus, and Mime Bowen. And see you guys around. Love you all. Ciao, ciao.